Hi everyone, this is the second video in my series providing the environmental realist perspective on alternative energy sources and taking a realistic look at the advantages and drawbacks of all types of energy, including specifically wind and solar. And in my last video, I talked about the fact that every part of the process of converting sunlight and wind into energy requires oil and natural gas. And I talked about how while sunlight and wind are free and abundant at times, the process of converting those resources into energy is not free. And many materials in windmills and solar panels are not abundant nor environmentally friendly. But even if those issues didn't exist, even if wind and solar were cheap and didn't require rare earth metals and other non-plentiful materials, and if wind and solar didn't require oil and natural gas to obtain, extract, and refine the raw materials for wind and solar, and didn't require oil and natural gas to manufacture, transport, and install and operate wind turbines and solar panels, the biggest problem with wind and solar is reliability. Wind and solar may be cheap and reliable in small quantities as a supplement to another major energy source, but they are too intermittent to provide sufficient energy to power the lives of billions of people. Now don't get me wrong, wind and solar and other renewable energy sources are great and helpful, but they will never be more than a supplement to a major energy source. And currently the only source that fits that description is oil and natural gas. See, the problem is that wind and solar produce energy in inconsistent bursts and consistently produce no energy for significant periods of time. You can't have a power plant that is entirely dependent on wind and solar. You have to have a reliable energy source. So unless we want to cover half the planet in batteries, which would cause its own set of problems, wind and solar are not the answer for providing power to the 8 billion people on our planet. A related problem is the more energy we produce with wind and solar, the more the problem of their intermittency becomes, because it actually creates more emissions to switch back and forth between alternative energy and natural gas and oil than it does to just constantly use oil and natural gas to produce energy. I feel passionately about being realistic about our current energy options and frankly our long-term energy options, and being realistic about the problems and benefits of wind and solar and the problems and immense benefits of oil and natural gas. There is a form of solar energy, a biofuel, that is cheap, plentiful, reliable, and scalable. Nature has already concentrated and stored the power of sunlight in plants that lived hundreds of millions of years ago. Those dead plants are called fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are high energy concentrations of ancient dead plants. And our entire civilization depends on the energy and raw materials extracted from those dead plants. Because those of us alive today have never lived without oil and natural gas, it's hard to imagine a life without their benefits. But given that thought leaders are proposing that we do just that we get rid of oil and natural gas, it's important to grasp just how big a difference fossil fuels have made and currently make in our lives. Trying to get rid of oil and natural gas is shooting ourselves and our society in the foot, if not the head, especially for developing countries that have the greatest need for oil and natural gas to provide basic necessities to their people. So those of us who are fans of helping the planet and helping the people on the planet, and frankly those of us who are fans of wind and solar energy, should be supporting oil and gas companies, because wind and solar energy need oil and natural gas, and we need oil and natural gas to provide power to the people. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.